Hey guys, it's Hannah and I'm here today with my November wrap up. So November was not a great reading month for me. It was, but it wasn't. So physical reading, I'm still only reading one physical book. And I haven't actually finished a physical book this month, but I do have some to show you. But I've done a lot of audiobooks because I was powering through audiobooks. So the book that I'm currently reading is Kingdom of Ash, and that's why I haven't finished a physical book this month, because Kingdom of Ash is taking me quite a ways to get through because I am afraid for it to end. So that's why I haven't read that much. But I have gone through quite a few audiobooks. So let's get on into the wrap up. So the first book that I finished for the month of November is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. We did this on audiobook. All of these are going to be on audiobook. So we listened to this on audiobook. We do our reread every year. 5 out of 5 stars because Harry Potter, the nostalgia. It's so good, and I am excited that we have this one behind us because we are one step closer to my favorite book, which I'm very excited. Leave me a comment down below if you guys know what my favorite Harry Potter book is, because I talk about it a lot. So it'll be interesting to see if you guys actually know what that one is. But 5 out of 5 stars for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. The next book I finished for the month of November is on the opposite end of the spectrum, and that is I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erica Sanchez. And I gave this one a 2.5 out of 5 stars. You guys know, very rarely do I make a book that low, but I just could not understand what the hype was about this. And I know there's not been a lot of hype on BookTube, but it's got so many awards, and when it came out, like, there was some hype and I was interested in that, and I love the cover. Like, the cover's gorgeous. But I just didn't understand it. So what I really like about this is the Mexican culture and the way that it's portrayed. You really feel it instead of you're being shown it or just told. It's a whole immersion of the book as you are in that culture and you feel all of the different facets in it. The story plotline was not there, so the whole premise is that her sister died and she is a perfect Mexican daughter, and the main girl that you're following will never live up to her, right? And then she starts to uncover a few things about her sister that makes her believe maybe she's not the most perfect person. And so then it kind of feels like a detective and she's gonna dig into her sister's life, and she starts to. But then like a good chunk of the way through, she just stops and it goes on about her life. And it is a fiction book, but it just not a lot happens. And I get it, we're following her life, but usually stories follow the climax. Even if it's fiction, even if it's not fantasy, we usually still have that same model of climax and then resolution, and we get that. But it's like to last, like within the last 100 pages, we get the build up, climax, and then over. So it's like, why did I read for like a good portion of this book for nothing? And so it's just, I didn't really care for it. There wasn't a really good plot line to it, and the more that I thought about it afterwards, the more that I disliked it. So I will say, if you're still interested in this one, be warned of trigger warnings for self-harm and sexual abuse, and just a heads up for those. So 2.5 out of 5 stars for this one. Next up, I finished The Ruby Circle by Rochelle May. This is the sixth and final book for Ruby Circle for the Bloodline series, and absolutely loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. And if you guys want to join our live show, it will be over at Gabby's channel. Gab's About Books. In the middle of December, we are going to be doing a live show on this one and Kingdom of Ash. So feel free to join us for that one for our Muggle Cities Book Club pick. Absolutely loved it. Loved the ending. I have so many notes to talk to you guys about, so please join us. The next book that I finished in the month of November is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This is my first time listening to it on audiobook, and I absolutely adored this book. So 5 out of 5 stars. It's one of my favorite contemporaries, and I knew I was going to like it. But listening to it on audiobook, and I haven't read this book in quite some time, the way that I connect to the character is so incredible, and I just love the way that she writes. I am such a fan of Rainbow Rowell. Now, not everything she writes in my book is gold, but I adore Fangirl and I adore Carry On, and she just writes social anxiety so well and what college feels like for someone who is an introvert and just social settings, and it's so good. If you relate to those labels, check it out, because more likely than not you will feel heard and seen, and it's just so good to have a character in a book that you can read and feel that connection to, and I just really enjoyed it. If you want to see how in-depth I go, check out the reading blog labeled Connecting on a Deeper Level or something like that. It is a big nod to Fangirl. Next up, I read Love and Luck by Janet Evans Welch. I'll pop a picture up here. I rated this one a 3.75 out of 5 stars. So Love and Gelato is the very first one in this series, and that one is about a girl who goes to Italy, and I kind of went into Love and Luck blind. I saw the 4-leaf clover on it and I assumed that it meant that we were going to go to Ireland, and I was like, yes, I'm here for Ireland. I was under the assumption that it was a traveling going to Ireland, but it starts off she's already there, and it's all about a brother-sister dynamic, and they go to Ireland for their aunt's wedding, and she plans on meeting up with the girl who stars in Love and Gelato, who is in Italy right now, and that's where the premise is, and then of course the story goes awry. And what I really loved about this was it wasn't a romance book heavy. It does have some romance in it, but it's very light, and it really focuses on connections in family and connections with friendships, and really the brother-sister dynamic was so beautiful in this one, and kind of deep. Like if you broke apart the sentences that they were saying and not pigeonholing people, I really liked that aspect that's played up in this book, so I really enjoyed this one. 3.5 out of 5 stars. I probably wouldn't reread it. I liked Love and Gelato a lot more, and you don't need to read Love and Gelato to understand Love and Luck, but it does help out with some friendship dynamics, and you will get spoiled for Love and Gelato if you read Love and Luck, but it's not necessary. Next up was probably one of my favorite reads this month, and that was Girl Logic by Eliza Schlesinger. If you haven't seen her, she has done several Netflix specials. She is a comedian, and this one is so good. I enjoyed it so much, and I recommend listening to the audiobook. So I started reading this one physically, and then realized that the audiobook was on super crazy sale for Audible, and so I bought that, and she actually narrates her own audiobook, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to listen to. The way that she delivers the lines and just the tone of it, it was perfect, and she really gets down into the hilarity of how much girls analyze things, and how that sometimes works for our advantage and how it sucks sometimes, and how girl empowerment needs to come about, and what the lessons she's learned throughout the years. And it feels very much like a friend sitting down with you and just talking to you. It doesn't really feel like this was about my life type of thing, which I really enjoy, and I highly recommend checking it out. I also really recommend the Netflix specials. If you haven't seen the comedy specials, go check it out because it's fantastic. Elder Millennial and Confirmed Kills are two of my favorites of hers, and they're fantastic. If you like my sense of humor, you will like her, and I recommend you checking her out. And last book that I picked up was Autobiography, and I rated this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This one I knew has been on my list to listen to and read for quite some time. I really have a soft spot for LGBT characters and seeing them represented and seeing their stories, and so I knew I was gonna love this one. So this one is all about a boy who moves from California to Utah, and he moves to a very Mormon town, and there is basically LDS kids everywhere, and Mormons are very gay people. They went into it in this book, but it talks about how men can have attractions to men, but if you act on it, that's where they have the issue. So working on that premise, it sets up the whole story, and this one was very good. It was really enjoyable, and to see like different walks of life, and it also is perfect for around this time because it's all about the main character writing a story and being in this class, and he writes a story and he's writing about a queer kid in a town surrounded by LDS people, and anybody who would read that story that he was writing for this class that would have to be turned in would know that he was gay, and he was not out, and it was warned to not be out. Like, his family knows, and his family is very supportive, but they said, you are not going to be accepted here, like, I'm just trying to protect you, don't come out because it's not going to be a good situation for you. So he understood that. He didn't harbor any bad feelings because of that, but he knew that he shouldn't come out. So he was very secure in his sense of self, but had to still hide it, which I think was an interesting dynamic you don't usually see in these types of books. And I really enjoyed how it played out and the different storylines, and it just felt very real and easy to listen to. I inhaled this in like a day and a half. The only thing that knocked it down for me was there was quite a bit of insta-love in my opinion, and I'm not the biggest of insta-love, and unfortunately I really like the story, but I have to knock it down because that is one of my pet peeves, is insta-love. So otherwise, I really enjoyed this book, and I recommend checking it out if that's something you're interested in. So that is all for my November wrap up. Let me know down below what you've been reading this month, if you're reading Kingdom of Ash, and let me know if you've been enjoying our live show too. So that's going to be it for this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!